Everdeen, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this 4th of July themed top. Now it is just a striped top, so you can actually choose whatever colors you would like, but since 4th of July is around the corner, I decided to go with white and kind of red. It's more of a burgundy, but yeah, red and white. And they are both size 4 yarn. The white one is from the brand Impeccable, and the red one is from the brand Red Heart. And my hook size is 5 millimeters. So we're going to start off this project the way we start off every crochet project, with a slip knot and a chain. Now if you actually don't know how to make a slip knot or to chain or to even crochet at all, I actually have a crocheting for beginners video that I will link in the description box below, so you can check that out, practice for a bit, maybe try out some more beginner friendly videos and tutorials first, and then come back to this one when you're ready, or you can just try to wing it. So you're going to chain a chain that's long enough to cover all the way around your back towards your chest, but you're not going to make the chain so long that it actually wraps all the way around you. You want it to stop right about here because you want this cute little lace design in the front. So yeah, after you've chained a chain that's long enough to wrap all around your back and cover your breasts, then you move on to the next step, which is to create a row of double crochet. And if you're unfamiliar with double crochet, that is alright. I will give you a refresher. It is yarn over through the stitch, then yarn over, back through the stitch, yarn over, back through 2 loops, yarn over, back through the last 2 loops. That's it. You're just going to keep making these double crochets all along the chain that you just made. And again, if you need practice or you need this to go slower and in more detail, I do have a crocheting for beginners video, again linked in the description box below. And yeah, so all you have to do is continue making these double crochets throughout the entire row, and then once we reach the end, I will show you how to make the next row. So yeah, all the way to the end. Okay, I will meet you there. Okay, so now I'm working towards the end of my chain, and I'm just making the last couple of double crochets. And now this is the very last chain. After I'm done, I'm going to chain 1, flip it over, and then just make another double crochet on top of the double crochet I just made. Super easy, right? And you're just going to go all across that row all over again and stack another row of double crochets on top of the very first row of double crochets that you made. And it's going to look awesome. And you're actually just going to continue doing the same thing for another about 2 rows. It does depend on how thick you want your stripes to be. The stripes on my top are 5 rows thick. If you wanted to replicate the size of my stripes, then you're going to be making 5 rows of double crochet per color. So I'm just going to continue making my various rows of double crochet with my white colored yarn. Every time I reach the end, I'm going to chain 1, flip it over, and then continue making my double crochets on top of my previous double crochets. And then just going towards the end, and then once I reach the end of that row, just do the exact same thing until I've completed 5 rows of my double crochet. And then I'm going to show you how to change colors. Now it's not the most seamless way, but that's just the way that I do it, and hopefully you enjoy this way as well. If not, you could always look up other methods of changing colors. So what I do is I cut off the yarn from the yarn ball, and then I grab the second color, and I kind of put them both onto my hook at once, kind of mix them together, and then I just crochet with both of them, if that makes any sense. So instead of yarning over with just one color, which would be the white, I cut the white from the yarn ball, so I'm just left with a little bit extra, and I put that as a yarn over, but along with it I also put the second color. So there's actually 2 colors on my yarn over when I am crocheting into my next stitch. And then quickly the extra white that I had runs out, but it's also mixed in with the red, and then after that the red takes over. And I know it does sound really complicated, but if you need to, you can always rewind and replay as many times as you like. And I'm also going to show you a couple more times how I do it, hopefully at a better angle. Okay, so you're just going to continue making your double crochets throughout the entire row, and it's going to look really awesome mixing in with the white. I really love the contrast of the white and the burgundy colors. I just had to show it off. Look how cool that looks. So again, I'm just going to make 5 rows with the red. That way it's nice and even with the 5 rows of white. Of course, if you want to, you could always make your stripes different sizes. You can make thinner stripes or thicker stripes, just a variation of stripes, or you could do what I'm doing and make them all even. Because I want this to represent the American flag, all of the stripes are even, so that's why I decided to have these stripes even as well. So 5 rows for each color. So now that I'm done with the red yarn, I'm going to switch it back to the white yarn. So I'm going to cut off the yarn from the yarn ball, making sure that there's a decent amount of excess. I'm going to hold the 2 colors together and use them both when I yarn over, as if they were one. I'm going to chain 1 just to make it easier so they're nice and stuck together, and then I'm just going to continue using them both when I yarn over until the red runs out and I'm only left with white. So instead of tying a knot and then continuing with the second color, I just do this method and I like it better. It doesn't unravel. It's nice and weaved into the stitches along with the second color. But again, if you don't like this method, I'm sure there are other ways to change colors that are probably more seamless and maybe even easier. This is just something that I made up as I went along. I am a self-taught crocheter. I never follow any patterns or was taught the proper way how to crochet. I always just figure everything out myself. So if you're looking at this and you're like, what the heck is she doing? It's because no one's ever taught me anything and I just make it up as I go along. And hopefully you find it easy too, but if not, then there's a lot of other resources out there. I'm sorry. So again, I created 5 rows of the white yarn, and then I switched over to the red again, and I'm going to create another 5 rows of double crochet with the red yarn. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to actually be done with the top, I think. You could always make the top longer or shorter depending on how many rows that you make. Mine just covers just barely above my ribs. If you want yours to cover down to your belly button, just make more rows. If you want it to be even longer, just make even more rows. And that's all you have to do to change the size of your top. And then once you're done, you're going to cut off the yarn from the yarn ball and then bring the excess through the last loop, give it a tug. And I also like to weave it into the project just in case I need to unravel it. I have that extra piece of yarn I could find and then unravel it. Some people just like to cut it off completely, but I like to weave it in. And yeah, so I'm done with the main portion of the top, which it doesn't even look like a top right now until I do this, and then it still kind of doesn't look like a top right now until we add the lace or the corset, the straps, whatever you want to call it, right in the middle. And it's really easy to do. All you have to do is grab your yarn. I chose to use the white yarn as opposed to the red yarn. I just thought it'd look better. And I just attach it like so, then chain a chain of about 110. And the reason it needs to be so long is because you're going to crisscross it over, so you need a lot of strap. And once you have chained that really long chain, I typically like to go back on it using a slip stitch, and a slip stitch is super easy. All you have to do is go through the stitch, yarn over, go back through the stitch, and then go through the last loop. It's just one quick swoop of a stitch. And it just makes the strap a little bit thicker, sturdier, and I think it's a little more comfortable as well. It does make it softer as opposed to just a chain for a strap. So you're going to slip stitch your way all the way back down that chain until you reach the base of the top again, and then once you reach the base of the top, you're done with the strap, and you just create your second strap the exact same way that you created the first one. And then you're just going to detach it, the yarn from the yarn ball, and then bring the excess yarn back through the last stitch, give it a tug, either cut off the excess or weave it through. I like to weave it through. And then once you're done with that, then you're done with the straps, and now you need to make it like a corset kind of style. So I already created my 2 straps right here at the bottom. And now I'm going to show you how to make the crisscross pattern or the corset-like pattern. And all you have to do is grab one of the straps as well as your hook, and you're going to bring it over to the opposite side towards not necessarily the middle, but like the bottom middle, like the bottom portion, but still the middle. It's really hard to explain, but you're going to choose where you want the strap to be, and preferably you're going to put your hook through the front of the top and then bring the strap through the bottom and bring it forward to the top, if that makes any sense. Again, always replay and rewind because sometimes I'm not the best at explaining things with words. So yeah, bring your strap through with your hook and then with your hands. First towards the bottom middle of your top, and then towards the top middle of your top, and then lastly at the top of your top. So the points in which your straps are going to be attached are at the very bottom where you created your strap, and then you're going to reach over to the opposite side towards the middle, but not exactly in the middle, like the bottom middle. You're going to attach it there, and then you're going to go towards the top and also attach it towards the top middle, and then lastly you're going to attach it to the actual top of your top. And then after you're done with that, you're going to do the exact same thing, but with the opposite strap. You're going to reach it over to the opposite side, trying your best to make sure that it's as even as possible with the other strap. That way you attach them to about the same stitch, just on the opposite side. And once you have attached the strap to the very top of your top, then you are completely done with the top. You could actually just wear it as a tube top like this, or you can do the extra step and create little sleeves for this top, and I'm going to show you how to make those as well, but just give you a preview of what it looks like without any of the sleeves. So yeah, little tube top right here. Now on to the sleeves. And to make the sleeves, it's really easy. All you have to do is basically do the exact same thing that you did with the top, except miniaturize it. So instead of making a chain that's going to wrap around your body, you're going to make a chain that's going to wrap around your arm, making sure that it's not too tight because you don't want to lose circulation when you're wearing it, but also not too loose because if it's too loose, then it won't stay on your arm and it will be very annoying. So just give yourself a good amount of room when you make this chain. Make sure it fits you well, not too tight, not too loose, just right. And once you've created that chain, then you're just going to make a few rows of double crochet for each color. I actually was running out of the red yarn, so I just made 1 row of double crochet for red and then 2 rows for white. It doesn't look that bad, you can't really tell too much, but if you want the stripes to be even, then go ahead and just make 2 rows for each. And so for the very first row of double crochet, you can of course start off with any color you would like. I just started off with red, and once I did the entire row of double crochet for the red, once I reached the end, I actually attached both of the ends together, that way it can make a circle. And I did this by using a slip stitch. I just put my hook through one end and then did a slip stitch, and then through the bottom of the other end, and then create a slip stitch, and boom, nice and attached, and now perfect to make a sleeve. Yes. So again, I only made 1 row of this red double crochet, so now I'm going to switch it over to white the exact same way I did it with the top. So I'm going to cut off the yarn from the yarn ball, making sure I have a little bit of extra. Then I'm going to use both of them at the same time when I crochet. That way the red could be nice and stuck to the project while I work with the white yarn, and then just continue on with the white yarn. and I'm going to pretty much go in a circle now instead of just a row. It's still pretty much the same thing. You know when you've completed one row because you can tell where you attached it. That's where you started from. So that's how you count your rows now. So you're just going to continue making double crochets throughout the entire circle. And again, I made 2 rows of double crochet for white and then 1 for red because I was running out of red. But you could always make them even too, you know, if you have enough yarn. And then once you're done with your sleeve, depending on how thick you want it, mine is only about a couple inches thick, but if you want it thicker or thinner, then it's totally up to you. Once you're done with the very last row, you're going to create a chain of about 25, 15, 20. I actually don't know. I know I'm so bad. I don't actually count my chains or anything. But you could put the top against yourself and then put the sleeve on your arm. Just like hold it together and see how long you need your chain to be or your strap to be. And then after that, you just attach the strap to the side of your top with the slip stitch, and then you cut off the extra or weave it through your top like I do. And there you go, you've made your sleeve and you've attached it. Super easy. I guess the hardest part would just be figuring out how many chains you need. But again, that's how I do it. I just put the top against myself and then put the sleeve against my arm and then kind of measure out how long I need my chain to be. That way I could still move my arms up and down, but it won't be so loose that, you know, I have extra chain of crochet just floating around in there. So yeah, once you've made that sleeve, you're just going to go ahead and do the exact same thing to the other side and attach the other sleeve. And then after that, you're completely done with the top and ready to rock it for 4th of July, for a beach day, for a pool party, for everyday attire. Completely up to you. And again, you could always customize the colors of the stripes. This is a really cute design, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure to click that red subscribe button if you have not already so I can see you next time. Bye!